Oh, Lord Hickson. Oh, my goodness. But yeah, so that's all the temperature. I've got a couple of volcanoes on the map that I intend to tame and use as additional cooling where possible, but right now we're just mostly just getting by. How are my petroleum generators? The generators are all doing somewhat okay.
Looking dapper.
For the most part. But the real focus right now is trying to get this area set up, basically. I would like pips. Pips, pips, pips or pips squeaks. Only one. Actually, no, it needs to be 20, otherwise wouldn't matter. How many critters are here? Storing 16 to 20. Cool. That means that I can wrangle the pips that I've got in here. And I want this done quickly, because they're already starting to drop eggs. That's a bit of a pain, actually. They're probably close to death. 78 or 100. We can probably get those things planted in time, actually. Hey, Oassise Knight, how you doing? Thank you very much for the 3-month streak there, and 7 months in total. Stop saying pips so often, or else you may summon Sal. What? Oh, well, that'll make sense, actually. Pips, 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 pips. There we go. We shall see what happens next. Spawn is still doing okay. Honestly, I'm kind of frustrated that this is taking as long as it is. Let's bump the priority up from a 5 to a 6 for this entire room area. Gonna need to dig through this. And for now, I'm actually going to prioritize... I'm going to prioritize, very briefly prioritize that up over my living quarters. A truly fearless man. Okay. Having that hooked up will be a big help for us. So let's try and get that done sooner rather than later. But I do need the materials to build another robo miner, honestly. How was the research? Got one more study to do. I'm going to have to wait for that to be loaded up. Awaiting delivery of iron. I also want this room to be emptied out. Right now, one of the biggest issues that we have is just manpower. It's a lack of speed of getting anything managed. It has helped a little bit to have our derps switched over to nearest mode. So they're doing jobs more in terms of which are closer than anything else, which is definitely helping us. But the long commutes are a problem. How much time? Travel time was 39%. Terrible. They spent more time walking between jobs than they did doing the jobs. I mean, 20% of time is personal because, you know, I'm not a tyrant. They've got difficult lives, difficult jobs. They live in the lamp of luxury, however, so, you know, maybe I should actually dial that back a little bit. But I kind of like it that they don't generally get super stressed. I say, as I look at James, who's 12% stressed. That's frankly far too high. I don't care how stressed Snowfoot is, because Snowfoot is their own problem, frankly. It's hard not to be stressed when you keep building your face into a wall. Not that I'm bitter about it or anything. Okay, that did not happen the way I had hoped it would. The goal is to... what's the goal of this game? Is it to survive as long as possible? It's more... Well, it's kind of up to you. It's a little bit of a set your own goal. But there is a win condition to this game. Well, there's two, actually. One is to build a monument, which costs a large amount of very expensive materials. So it's a decent challenge. and one that will take a good base with a strong economy to achieve. And then that's kind of we've made this asteroid our home sort of achievement. The other one is to successfully navigate the temporal tear. So in terms of make the base our home, we've got these. I'd need steel and obsidian, 7.5 tons of steel, 2,500 kilograms of obsidian. The monument top, I would need glass, diamond, steel, and the monument middle would need various resources, ceramic, plastic, and steel. That was actually, I could probably already hit it right now if I wanted to dedicate my focus to it. The other one is to go on expeditions. Now, right now, my rocket can get to and bring back stuff from these asteroids, only 20,000 kilometers away. It can go and investigate anomalies 30,000 kilometers away. But to complete what I have set as my goal in this, I'll probably build the monument as well. But to complete the main thing, also, oh, poor Earth. But to complete the main game, or the big challenge, you have to keep going and going very far out, super far. It's a red wolf. Super far out to here, the temporal tear, 180,000 kilometers away. That's going to require a much better rocket than we've got right now, and a lot of research. Well, I say a lot of research. There isn't actually that much research left that I haven't done. But it's going to take a fair old bit to get over there. We're going to need the best engine in the game, which I'm kind of working on right now. These aren't really necessary for it, but I'm probably going to use them on the way. And fly out to that temporal tear. That's the big difficulty. At this point, I'm fairly confident that my base would... It would be hard to kill my base right now. He said his famous last words, I know. But I'm pretty confident that we've got a strong base at this point. Now, what I would like is for some... Oh, there we go. Can you please move this Pip? Pip, you have an errand to be moved. Why are you not being moved? Oh.
Looking dapper.
Someone please come and collect you. Also you. Hey, Voffy Knight, thank you ever so much for the gift subs there. And Miss Muna Luna, thank you so much for the 13 months. Diolch yn fawr to both of you. Thank you. Well, I'm off to head to bed. Have a good night, everybody. Take care, Space Time Dragon. Thanks for dropping by the stream, mate. A little Pip down there as well. I mean, maybe I just shouldn't send them over here. This is storing 17 of 20 critters, but this should be allowed to store more. Oh, there we are. Go, grab... No! Come back! No! Bring critter! No! Why? Please, someone bring a critter. This is now ultra priority. Just do the bloody work before they get out of their trussing. Yoink. Thank you. Also, go grab the other one, yes.
Looking dapper.
Yes. No? Oh. Much sad. Right, what I would really like is if you would, like, rummage in here, or I can help you. There you go. Oh, you were going to rummage in there anyway. My bad. Oh, thank you so much there, Raul Gamer, for triggering the hype train. Diolch yn fawr iawn. Ah, there we are. One buddy bud planted. Fantastic. Let's get the next one on the move. Copper volcano. Our little tame friend down here, providing us plenty of power and indeed copper. Yeah, I'm actually starting to think that realistically I need to sort this out. Okay.
Looking
So,
dapper.
one thing we can do is to run a pipe all the way over here and all the way back from over there. Oh, Friesen, thank you so much for the white gift subs, mate. Diolch yn fawr. And Top Writer for the cheer as well. I've not been watching the stream. Your voice is really good to just have as background noise. So I thank you.
Looking dapper.
And Derek, cheers for the... well, the cheer, actually. And John Miskey, thank you very much for the 14 months, buddy. Right, let's get this done as a 6. Well, the main thing I want is to have the cooling pipe going down here. Because most of this water isn't actually cold until you get over to this point. Thank you ever so much for that wonderful, wonderful cheer there. Thank you so much, mate. And Volby Knight as well. Diolch yn fawr. Alright. Now then. That volcano would be quite useful to tame. How are we doing for power right now? Oh, we've stopped using the petroleum. Good. What are we bringing in? We're bringing in a decent amount of natural gas. Got plenty of hydrogen flowing in. Got loads of steam being generated in here. Oh yeah, we really have. It must have gone very hot in here. Okay, nice. So, all of that polluted water in there got converted into dirt. And that bit right there hasn't actually yet turned into steam. But yeah, no, this is working quite well. This room is extremely hot, which is fantastic. This is exactly what we want. Aether Aquaheart, what a lovely name. Thank you very much for the 4 months. Right. Also want to pop you there, and eventually dig up there. We're slowly getting rid of all the polluted oxygen here. I think we're probably ready to go. Yeah, we are. All right, who's the least stressed? It's always the 2 scientists who are stressed. Is this some sort of comment on commentary on their intelligence allowing them to appreciate what an awful time they're having, or is it more that, you know, they're the ones I keep sending into space where they just have to sit in a rocket for a while and wee themselves? Who knows? Right, we haven't completely emptied this place out, but I don't mind losing a couple of grams of CO2, honestly. Legend Main, thank you very much for the cheer as well, buddy. And off we go. Whoosh! I am actually losing a decent amount of steam up there, which is a pain. Oh well. Right. Now, we want to run an automated signal all the way down here and all the way across. And in terms of the pipes, just want to hook them up. These will have already been hooked up with power, so that's fine. Okay. This way, these will stop sending liquid up to the top when the bunker doors are closed, which means that we've got an impact event going on. Oh, fantastic. They're getting... Oh, really? What did I... Oh, my lord, really? Why? Why did you make that out of lead? Of all the things to make a robo-miner out of. Lead. They're just making all of this stuff out of whatever the hell they want. I disapprove. Deconstruct. Deconstruct. Also deconstruct. My goodness. I'd put backward tiles where water drops behind the miners. I think it evaporates to space while dropping. Yeah, that's... it isn't evaporating to space while dropping, no. But that's the point. I wanted to grab the heat from the robo-miner and then evaporate. Right, there we go. We want an incubator made of steel, please and thank you. Right about there. We want a conveyor loader made of, again, steel. Right there. And we would like a robo-miner once again made of steel because I don't have thermium available. There we are. Water will just disappear into the vacuum before absorbing heat. Not true. I can say that with significant confidence because these robo-miners have been having regolith drop on them in the 300s of odds degrees. Bear in mind that this system has been shut down for a little bit, but they've been being maintained at about 100 degrees or as low as 40 if it hasn't had anything drop directly on it for a while. It will disappear into a vacuum with a certain amount of time. Another example, look down here. This is being maintained by water. It's in vacuum. It is generating heat. It would otherwise overload and eventually overheat. But instead, as you can see from the heat, gradually dropping. It will just be more efficient with background tiles. It'll be more cheaty, yeah. The background tile is just drywall. This is absolutely the wrong stream. If you're looking for the most efficient thing, I don't mind you offering advice, and I will explain why you're wrong. Like where you're saying it will just evaporate. That's a very absolute statement, which is absolutely wrong. You are correct though that it would 100% be more efficient. Absolutely correct. But you're presenting your opinion, your preference as fact, which is just straight up not right. So, maybe duck your head when you do that. But in terms of it being more efficient, it's definitely, it's no less cheesy than this, which I happily use, a SPOM, which is, breaking thermodynamics, because it's generating more power than it's going into it. It's basically powering itself and got extra hydrogen, which occasionally trickles down and then funds the rest of the base. And it's one of these games where, to avoid making the simulation so in depth that the game chokes itself to death, the devs have to make certain choices, and it's up to each player to decide, okay, well that's a little bit cheesy, or that's not cheesy, or this is no challenge to me if I do it this way gives me more input. There's definitely lots of different ways to engage. What on earth is that? Oh, that's lead. But I feel that having a tiny little square of drywall here and then dropping water down, and even though that water is still in hard vacuum and it should evaporate, it doesn't, because the game is like, what's the medium around this water? It's a solid block of, or rather it's a background tile of drywall. That means we're fine. It's still in vacuum and it should still be evaporated by space, but it doesn't know it. And that's one of the shortcuts that the devs have had to make the simulation, again, not choke to death. I just like this system a little bit more. The other problem, though, if I did have a tile of drywall there and I dripped a little water on it, the moment regolith fell on top, it would displace the water. Your system would work, but I'd have to build it like this. So, using drywall over here, I vent a little bit of waste gas. The waste gas gets pulled out into the void and then disappears, but on its way past, it gathers the heat off the robo-miners. But I could have like a little dropper there, just dripping a little bit of water on the ground. And then but it wouldn't go anywhere. And that's the part that I feel makes the game so trivially easy to play with. It's why for me, my next question would be, why am I playing this game? I'd just go and play Dwarf Fortress and be challenged. Does that make sense? And likewise, some people will play Dwarf Fortress and be like, well, I hate having to deal with dwarves, having to carry stone around. I'm just going to make an atom smasher. There is no wrong way to play a single-player game. And that's definitely a hill I'll die on. I'll build the hill and then die on it. But for me to enjoy the game, I enjoy trying to play with the spirit of the game. I will be playing Dwarf Fortress Steam Edition, yeah. Absolutely. Like, yeah, no, I mean, deleting heat. The fact my Steam engines delete heat, effectively. You know, thermodynamics is broken all the time in this game. And that's, you know, as with the SPOM, I find it kind of funny. But just dropping a little bit of water isn't an engineering problem. That's boring to me. But if you play the game and you struggle with other solutions, or you rage against the idea of losing like 25 grams of water when you've got, you know, functionally infinite amounts, absolutely, you know, again, I would champion your right to enjoy the game the way you want to. Oh my god, they still haven't taken this down? Let's get rid of that. Oni in general is like, thermodynamics? What is that? Well, yeah, no, they're straight up the law with, what was it? Perdition's bow? Is that the law in this? Well, you know, whatever made the temporal chair and the neutronium everywhere. The fact that they've made a creature, the bioengineered a creature that can eat everything and poops coal. More to the point, the fact that they made a version of that creature, the Sage Hatch, that eats some things, but poops exactly the same amount of coal as what they ate. So they're not actually taking anything out of that equation, they're just converting it. I love it. Sorry if I sound too arrogant. As an engineer, I suffer when I see a system that can be easily optimized. Oh no, that's fine. That's absolutely fine. I struggle when I see people doing obviously simple tasks when, you know, they could make it a little bit more interesting. It's kind of fashion Souls. Some people will play like Dark Souls and will literally lose their mind because you haven't put on the best armor or using the best weapon for your stat build. And I'm like, I literally don't care, dude. My jacket has got a teacup on it. That was the entire process that went into me picking this gear. I think was it Dark Souls 2? It might have been Dark Souls 3. But I played pretty much through the entire game with the starter gear because it had a little tea kettle and a scroll case on it. I didn't care about stats. It's like, honestly, I can just improve my skill at not being hit instead of relying on the efficiency of my armor, making it easier to not die if I do get hit. You know? Best armor is fashion. Yes, I agree. But I do get where you're coming from. Like, when it comes to AI, because obviously that's what I studied. Well, actually, I say obviously, since it's a first chat here, I'm not sure if you come here from YouTube or where, or just saw Oni on the screen. But when I'm playing Horizon Zero Dawn, I find it hard not to kind of backseat the game in a way and complain about how ridiculously stupid the AI is being. And the sorts of choices and reactions seem woefully, hopelessly out of sync with what would be very easy to achieve and what I would feel an AI would achieve. Though obviously that moves a little bit more into the realm of opinion there. I know how this ultra-intelligent AI would think, blah, blah, blah. But, simple things like threat assessment. And in Horizon Forbidden West recently, there was a case where there was an obvious problem where I think right at the beginning you're trying to drop a shuttle on a bunch of massive snake robots. And you achieve it by you mess with one of them, and the other one just doesn't leave. And I'm like, look, what? How could this ultra advanced AI have not built in even the most simple of threat assessment algorithms into this to be like, yeah, maybe I shouldn't hang around the thing that just crushed the other version of me, or pathfinding is something I often rage about. But I often approach it from an optimization perspective. It's like, I can tell that the game devs are running this in this certain way, and that's not very kind on machines, on the computers. You could do it in this way, and it would be significantly better, or would achieve a better result, or would do it with less system resources. So I completely get where you're coming from. Don't take it as one of these cases where it's like, oh my lord, just because you've got a different opinion to me, you must be wrong. But as an engineer, I will say that you're a little bit loosey-goosey with facts. It's like, oh no, the water absolutely evaporates. No, it doesn't. I literally just showed you. Instantly, you kind of damaged your reputation as a valid source of information. Typical engineer mind. As someone who's not an engineer, I don't understand how a toaster works. As someone who's got more qualifications in general scientific fields than I would like to draw attention to, it took me a stupidly large amount of time to work out how a refrigerator worked. Sometimes we can be so focused on what we do know, we don't realize what we don't, and we don't look into it. It's one of the things I've said a fair bit. Sometimes it can be dangerous to know a little about something. Pathfinding is hard. Oh, no, absolutely. There's a great deal of math behind it. Same with most problems where, well, it's like the traveling salesman problem. You can solve it in a brute force way if you've got like a ridiculous amount of time and a fantastically powerful computer. But even then, there's a point where it's like, I have solved the problem, but not in any practical way that will be useful to me in the whole point that I was trying to solve the problem. So pathfinding is very hard. There's a whole branch of mathematics and study around it. Yeah, the most dangerous thing is to think you know enough. I've experimented with Oni a while ago, and I remember that water drop mass decreases while it's falling in a vacuum. Perhaps it is being changed. Oh no, it absolutely does. It's just it depends on the distance and also the amount of water. I've tweaked the amount of water. Currently we're dropping it in 25 gram packets. It's small enough that it won't state change if it is running through regolith, but it's large enough that it will survive the drop of, I think it was 3 tiles or 2 tiles that we've got. There we go. Thank you very much indeed. Right, let's get rid of that. We saw a lot of that with... this is how this works. You're wrong. You shouldn't be doing it that way with Zomboid. I remember a couple of comments on Wanda's content, I think it was. telling him... I can't remember now. It might have been something to do with cooking. Oh, no, it wasn't. It was the use of voice comms in-game and how... Well, it doesn't matter if you're sneaking. Because when you're talking, it creates more sound than actually shouting in-game. So that's why the zombies are noticing you. It absolutely, it categorically does not. Like, the devs have confirmed that it has no effect. Voice comms in-game, even though it's got, like, proximity chat, the zombies do not track based on that. It doesn't matter what you're saying or how loud or anything like that. It isn't quantified in game terms, so the zombies don't hear it. They'll hear a light switch from like 100 tiles away, but they won't hear any level of voice comms. And Wanda responded with, "No, it doesn't. You know, we know it doesn't." They were like, the response was, "Oh, sorry. I mean, I've not actually tried it, so thanks for letting me know." I was like, wow. Very confident for someone who's not actually done a thing to not only explain that it works the way that you thought it did, but also point out that why it works that way. It's like, what? My goodness. The audacity. I need to find out where you got that. Tell me who your dealer is. This is why I live by the quote. I'm smart enough to know what I don't know. To be honest, though, that puts you probably massively ahead of the curve. I don't think a lot of us know what we don't know. It's kind of hard to know. That's the point. I think the best that most of us can hope for is to know that, or rather to understand that there's a lot that we don't know. Knowing exactly what we don't know would probably involve at least a bit of knowledge about the thing that we don't know. But I think the main thing is probably to present... Well, it's to know what is an opinion and what is a flat fact. I think a thing works like this versus this works like this. If nothing else, it'll save you from embarrassment if it turns out that the thing you were very confident about doesn't. It doesn't function the way you thought it did. Just a general life tip, that one. Right, we've got a couple of builds over here that we need to get sorted. My lord, this became a very chatty stream all of a sudden. We need a steel autosweeper, not a lead one. Scallywag. And we also want a conveyor loader. Right there. Actually, I've got that going in the wrong way. Let's nix that one. I feel the version should be, I know when I don't know. Yeah, again. Though I think, again, this actually kind of strays into, more into my degree than perhaps is obvious, because a lot of natural and artificial intelligence was about how the mind perceives itself. It's very hard to know what we don't know. It's really hard to know what we don't know. That's why I said, like, the best most people can hope for is to be open-minded that what they believe is incorrect. They'll still hold the belief, but if they're open to it being challenged, then that is a good safeguard against things. I know, therefore I don't know. Now, that's probably closer to the truth than anyone would really like to think about. Well, what's this fancy room off to the side for? This one. This is where excess vole eggs get deposited. There are known unknowns and unknown unknowns. Things you don't know, The boondog. Okay. Both a typo and a quote I'm not familiar with. To be fair, Aavak, when it comes to that quote, my current answer is, I don't know a lot. That I can absolutely get behind. I have very often found myself with an occasion to quote that I know. What was the last way I put it? Because I actually quite like that. Trying to remember because it was almost like sing-songy, and I really enjoyed it. I thought, I'm gonna have to remember that, and of course I've forgotten. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get that for you. No, I can't recall. The problem is that I was basically converting something I've said in Welsh a load of times into English. But the essential, the essence of it was, I know a lot about little and little about a lot. The one with the DNA. Oh, the one with the DNA statue. You mean the world? This is the Gravitas facility. Basically a law area. Right. All of this hooked up. Very, very good. I want this to basically sweep up anything at all. Except... cultivatable soil? No. We want industrial... No, it'll be filtration. Yeah, regolith. We don't want to take regolith. But this needs to be a level 1. This needs to be for vole pups. But I'm not going to turn that on just yet. That one shouldn't allow manual use. We need the auto sweeper in here. Then this, let's deconstruct that. This is going to accept meat. Well, actually, no, they'll accept everything. I'll dump everything down here. But the main thing it's going to take away is meat. It won't accept any egg, however. It will accept eggshell. If you want to know what happened to RimWorld on Steam, you can look at the recent posting from the authors of RimWorld on Steam. Oh, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it seems that, sadly, the classification in Australia in regards to the console version has resulted in a no classification for the PC version, which is a bit rough. We should be able to run all of this off one large power transformer. Let's pop you about there. Actually, I think we're just going to go straight up the middle and hook up to everything. No. We're not going to hook up to this one. I only want one egg being incubated in this room at a time. Make all of that 6s. Why has it been banned from console? It's been banned across the board because... Now, it's a weird one because they've previously not done that, apparently. It's not clear why they felt that the console version shouldn't have a classification, but by not giving it a classification, the ratings board has made it illegal to sell it in Australia. Not illegal to own, just illegal to sell. Sorry about that. So anyone who's already bought it can still play it, can still use it, but no new purchases are able to be made. But by not classifying it, effectively the ratings board makes it impossible to sell because it has to be sold by its classification. Rimworld, it's been
Looking
refused classification due to positive depiction of drugs. The game was initially released on Steam, but was pulled from sale after being refused classification there. Now, the interesting thing with that is that this is in large part due to the console version. They weren't... Oh, damn it. What's overheated? Oh. Really? What have I made that out of? Copper ore. Okay. Well, let's get rid of that. Also... Oh, actually, also disable auto repair. And I will bring in... I will replace that with something a little bit more durable. But the interesting thing with the console version is that they've allowed things like the PC version of, I think, Grand Theft Auto and Fallout, even though they refused to classify the console version. It didn't have any impact on the game being sold on PC. It had no impact to the PC version, but in this instance, it has, by not classifying the, not rating the console version, they've effectively shut down sales of the PC version as well. So it's a little bit of a discrepancy there. Not sure what that means, if anything, honestly, but it does mean that a lot of people haven't been able to, or won't be able to purchase RimWorld, which is a bit of a shame. You can still buy the DLC on Steam. That's kind of wild. Incidentally, all the corpos that do the classifications are owned by the big corpos that need said classification. No corruption here. Nope, none whatsoever. Yeah. Positive depiction. Recovering from addictions is not exactly positive. True. And I would argue that the effects of Luciferium are not generally positive, but I do get where they're going, because a lot of people will use drugs in a kind of a need way. I feel that especially conservative bodies will... They say that the drug use is being presented in a positive light, but what they mean to say is that the drug use wasn't presented in an entirely negative light. And that's fair, because RimWorld doesn't present it in an entirely negative light. If you are in a massive fight and you decide that you need a bit of go juice to get through it, or yayo, you might win the fight. The consequences are dire and horrible on your pawns, but, you survived the fight. I imagine if the consequence was, oh, yeah, you used yayo and you immediately died from a heart attack because drugs bad, okay, then they wouldn't have had any issue with it, but... Their idea of a positive light is that it wasn't immediately negative and you weren't immediately punished for the discretion. I'm not sure if you can still buy it on the Luden site, and if you can, I wouldn't necessarily spread that around, frankly, because that's a good way of getting that all further shut down. Right, we want everything going out of here except critter eggs of any kind. They get to stay. Now these rooms will be auto-cleaned. You know what? Let's get that sorted, because once that's done... Oh, they can't reach it. That's my bad. Tonk tonk. Once that's done, we can get the auto-feeders in here. And more or less at that point, we're good to go. Then we just need to move some shovels in here. I mean, painkillers are drugs. Are we banning any game with them? Well, let's be honest. Anything that your body doesn't produce, and some of the things that it does are drugs. Drug is just a word for chemical, really. It's the general negative connotation is presented to drugs that have negative consequences and little to no positive ones. Alcohol is a drug, nicotine is a drug. Of the two, one is more vilified because it generally has no positives. Alcohol, at least, can, keep your heart healthy as long as it's drunk in moderation. Nicotine doesn't really do anything good for you. Caffeine is a drug, You know, it confuses your brain into not realizing how tired it is. Would it be classified as a drug? Depends how big of a problem a country has with people going kind of a little bit round the bend because they've drunk too much coffee that day. It all depends on the situation, I'm afraid. There's not much rhyme or reason to it. The worst part is when it's applied inconsistently. Sugar, salt, yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, sugar is something your body produces, just in very small amounts. Was it glyconeogenesis? But the only thing you absolutely positively... Now, understand what I'm going to say here. It could well be incorrect on a very technical level. But in a general sense, about the only thing your body absolutely positively needs sugar for is your brain. Which is a pretty important part that needs anything. It's like saying, oh, well, you know, I don't really need water. The only part of me that needs water is my heart, sort of thing, you know, or any other comment like that. But it needs very small amounts of sugar. Like, we're talking needs, as in, there's a thing it needs sugar for that it can't do without sugar. And it's an important thing that it will break if it can't do. But your body can synthesize sugar. It's a difficult process, very expensive for your body to do, and so it doesn't like doing lots of it. But, like, if you were not eating sugar in any way, your body would be able to sustain itself for a while. It doesn't quite make enough compared to what it consumes in a day, but you'd probably, you know, have a while before you started feeling the ill effects of your brain not getting sugar enough. You know, it would take the edge off. You'd be losing your store gradually, but it would slow it down. But yeah, I mean, you know, sugar is a drug, you know, especially in the processed form that most people consume it. A drug that is in the negative connotation leads to more problems than it solves. Right, Volpup, Regolith. This can have a... let's keep... well, actually, I'm going to say that this can have Regolith in very large quantities. I'm fine with it actually storing the entire amount. Now, my concern with the Robo-Miner is how hot this thing is going to get. I may need to siphon off some coolant from somewhere. I wonder. I could actually run this liquid line around and back. I could totally do that.